Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys smash the like button, also subscribe to the channel. Now, May 6th it goes down, Canelo versus Chavez Jr. I'm looking forward to that fight. It's going to tell me something about both fighters, and the winner could possibly go on to another big fight right away, namely with Gennady Golovkin. I mean, Chavez Jr., if he beats Canelo, pulls the upset, he was someone who was in talks to possibly face Gennady Golovkin years ago, before the Fanfare fight, and it didn't get done, and then he had legal trouble with Top Rank, and then he sat on the shelf, came back, got stopped by Fanfare at light heavyweight, and his career hasn't really looked the same since. So that's one option. Or if Canelo, the favorite, beats Chavez Jr., then obviously people want to see Canelo versus Triple G. Now, Canelo did an interview with ESPN Deportes, link in the description, and he basically believes that Team Golovkin keeps bringing him up as a way to stay relevant by just keeping his name in the mix, because obviously he's the A side. I was born ready, and he's a big star. And he told ESPN Deportes, "I never mentioned him in my interviews," referring to Golovkin. "They are always the ones who are grabbing at me, mentioning my name and saying this or that about me. They are the ones who have made a name for themselves based on shouting, because truthfully, those who shout are doing it only because they want to be heard." So, again, link in the description. That's what Canelo feels. So he's kind of, along with becoming the biggest star in boxing in Floyd Mayweather's absence since he's retired, Canelo has kind of inherited that same type of problem, where if you're the guy in the throne and you're the #1 star in the sport, you're going to get called out a lot. People just want that fight, the opportunity, the payday, the chance to defeat you, right? Not that Canelo is a blemish-free record, but on paper he only has one loss, and that was to Floyd Mayweather. And more importantly, Floyd Mayweather, he constantly stated in interviews that piggybacking, that's the term that he used. He said that Pacquiao team, they're piggybacking off my name. And for 5-6 years or whatever, until they actually fought, you would see really both camps. But I think it helped Top Rank in Pacquiao more than it helped Floyd Mayweather. That's just my honest opinion, because they were constantly trashing Mayweather, making him look scared, and we got the fighter that could beat him. But they were also the ones that didn't do the drug test. Now, before I get too far off track, the whole point is piggybacking, using somebody who has clout, who has big name and achievement and stuff to further your goal. So, I mean, I agree with Canelo. I think Team Golovkin, they are constantly talking about Canelo, and I get it. You wanted the belt, you got the belt from him, he vacated, didn't make Canelo look good at all, and you still kept talking about him. And then Abel Sanchez did a recent interview where he says, "We're going to try for Billy Joe Saunders. If we become undisputed and they can make a fight with the redhead, we'll make it." That's what he calls him, the redhead. So I'm quoting Abel Sanchez. And he says, if we can't make a fight with the redhead, then we'll vacate the belts and move up to super middleweight. So I don't know if that was a tactic to like scare Canelo or something, like, hey, they're about to leave the division. But I have seen the Golovkin team constantly bring up Canelo, you know what I mean? And the reason I say this is because they, obviously it's what you're being asked, that's a portion of it, you know what I mean? Like even Mayweather Pacquiao, sometimes they both got asked from reporters about the other person. But in independent like call outs and stuff, I've seen, I would say, more Golovkin, where they initiated the call out or mentioning of Canelo's name, not just reporters merely asking them a question, right? You look at the headlines, just go look at websites and stuff and go look at the headlines, and it'll be like, Abel Sanchez, Canelo is this, Gennady Golovkin, Canelo's decision is bad for boxing. You know what I'm saying? Him fighting Amir Khan is business fight, stuff like that. And not even just answering questions or responding to reporter questions, but also kind of bashing your opponent, you know what I mean? And I told you guys, man, I'm getting tired of just talking about this. This shouldn't be the type of fight where it's a fantasy fight. Like, who would win? Floyd Mayweather versus Roberto Duran. Yeah. Floyd versus Pernell Whitaker. Those fights can't happen now for obvious reasons. You know what I mean? Retired fighters, things like that. This shouldn't be that. This shouldn't even be an instance like that, because both fighters are active. It's Golovkin's birthday today. Happy birthday to Gennady Golovkin, who turns 35, if I'm not mistaken. And Canelo's young. He's 26. I mean, Golovkin's never been knocked down that I remember, never been stopped, anything like that. So, I mean, it's a fight that should be made. It should be ready made. It's already, the promotion's done. People want to see it. You know what I mean? And I keep saying this, and I'm going to stress this. Not every fight is going to be as big as Mayweather-Pacquiao, and not every fight is going to have fans that are going to be as patient for that fight. Because fights come and go, you know what I mean? Fighters, there's a lot of activity in boxing, you know what I'm saying? There's other fighters who are just, like Nike said, just do it. And there's a lot of fights and fighters that are kind of just doing this, not this hiccup. Because Canelo and Golovkin is the biggest fight in boxing, in my opinion. That's the biggest fight that could be made. You know what I mean? Canelo Chavez, that's a big fight too. I don't know. I don't know if the Golovkin fight would be bigger, but it might be, especially in terms of desire, not just like financial gain and revenue, but in terms of desire, meaningful fights. It's up there. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in boxing. But you know what? People aren't going to just wait forever. And I hate to say this, but not everybody can do what like a Floyd Mayweather did, to the point where they can, even Pacquiao, where they dominate guys for so long without showing more flaws or more vulnerabilities. You know what I mean? Besides Juan Manuel Marquez, nobody was really fucking with Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Like when he would fight Hatton, you seen, you know what I'm saying, cut the lights off. When he fought De La Hoya, no match for Pacquiao. Same thing with Floyd. Most guys, there, give or take, there's some Zab Judas and Cottos and Maidanas in there where they gave Floyd a tougher fight, but for the most part it was still definitive wins and clear separation. But I really feel like Canelo and Golovkin, especially after Golovkin's last fight with Daniel Jacobs, it's only a matter of time. This is like a ticking time bomb, because I think both fighters are good fighters and both fighters have skill, but Canelo arguably lost to Edeslandi Lara, right? Golovkin arguably lost to Daniel Jacobs. So the longer these guys wait to fight other people, it's almost a matter of time where even if you win the fight, it's not your best performance. And these types of performances are going to lessen the impact of Canelo versus Golovkin. Like, as long as these guys, if they're fighting top level competition, if Golovkin goes back to fighting guys like Adama and stuff, then he'll look spectacular. But if he's fighting the Jamal Charlos of the world, Danny Jacobs rematch, moving up and fighting Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, fighting James DeGale, who called him out, fighting Andre Ward, then, you know what I mean, I really feel like even if he wins some of those fights, it's going to dampen the Canelo fight, because they're gonna be competitive fights. It's really what's in stone. Like I said, same thing with Canelo. If Canelo fights Jamal Charlo, Danny Jacobs, who knows? I don't know. Those stylistically, a lot of those guys, their styles would give Canelo problems from what I've seen. So they really need to get this show on the road and fight each other while it's still marketable and you can still make a pretty penny. You know what I mean? Because if there's too much that happens in between, in boxing, man, I watch boxing and I really listen to and peep the history. And it's really only a matter of time, and before you know it, something happens and the fight that is supposed to happen doesn't get made, and you wait too long, and then it's gone. That opportunity is missed. For example, I can think of two off the top of my head easy examples. A fight that people wanted to see at the time was a fight with Yuriorkis Gamboa and Mikey Garcia. When Mikey Garcia was with Top Rank, climbing through the ranks, knocking people out, looking good. Gamboa, he was undefeated, Olympic gold medalist, power, athleticism, Baby Tyson, they were calling him around that time, Mini Tyson. at one point, Mikey Garcia had a performance where he won, and Gamboa hopped in the ring with 50 Cent. Something special, man. You know you gotta fight Gamboa. You gotta do something, baby. You know what I mean? And they're in the ring, and it looked like it was about to go down. For whatever reason, negotiations fell through. Gamboa advanced. He had to get a little bit of layoff. Advanced, fought Terrence Crawford, a very skilled pound for pound type of guy, and he gave Crawford issue, but then he gets knocked down 4 times and gets stopped. Now, and then Mikey Garcia went on to sit on the shelf for 2 years, dealing with a legal battle with Top Rank before he was finally released just last year. So that, you know what I mean, who cares about Mikey Garcia versus Gamboa next? You know what I'm saying? People are now saying Mikey Garcia versus Lomachenko. You know what I mean? So you wait too long for these Canelo Triple G type situations, and it really doesn't even matter. And there's another fight. Who was I gonna say? I think, oh, actually Gamboa and Juanma Lopez. That was a fight that was kind of people were talking about at the time. And then Juanma gets stopped at home in Puerto Rico twice by Orlando Salido. Now people don't care. You know what I mean? The fight doesn't even matter. And it really doesn't matter now because Juanma doesn't look like the same fighter at all. He's been stopped by Mikey Garcia, Salido, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's unfortunate. And I really feel like Triple G and Canelo need to take this fight and capture what they can from it right now. And like, he's always talking about me. Canelo's saying stuff like, this is basically his easy work. There's many ways to defeat Golovkin. Golovkin's 35 today. He's injured now. You know what I'm saying? They gotta get this fight cracking. If Canelo gets past Chavez Jr., especially if Canelo's saying stuff like, there's many ways to beat Golovkin and they're all easy. If you say stuff like that, then people want to see it, show it, and prove it. You know what I mean? And Golovkin's saying Canelo's a businessman and he's ready for anybody and stuff. So let's see it. It's just the time for talking is passe. It's done. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep reading articles for the next 2 years about, oh, he said he's gonna. It's just like, it reminds me of a high school fight. Sometimes in high school, the fights would, the preamble, there wouldn't even be a fight. It's just a bunch of, and then by that time, the campus monitors came and stuff like, hey, you swing, no, you swing first. And there are people circling and maybe even a little bit of pushing action, but that's it. You know what I mean? They don't even fight. That's what this is seeming like. You swing first. No, you swing first. Hit me. You hit me. You hit me first. Hit me. Like, I mean, it's in a sport that is, it's a business, but it's still a competitive sport. These are things that we can actually see. It's like they're both on HBO, so you don't have to really deal with that Cold War. See, that's a couple years ago, things like the Cold War would come into play. You'd be like, oh yeah, that fight can't happen because the Cold War. Heyman fighters aren't HBO or this and that. Now we don't even have this. That's one of the wackest things if you really think about it. Mayweather and Pacquiao didn't happen for a variety of reasons. Drug testing being the first, the origin. You know what I mean? These two aren't even really arguing about drug testing, to my knowledge. Golovkin did drug testing versus Kell Brook, and he did drug testing versus his last fight, Daniel Jacobs. Canelo's doing the VADA testing for the Chavez Jr. fight. So check that off the list. That's not an issue. Networks aren't an issue. Golden Boy brought their fighter, their cash cow, back to HBO. They have a great relationship. They've been putting Canelo on Canelo Khan, Canelo Smith on HBO pay-per-view. He fought on regular HBO against James Kirkland. You know what I mean? Golovkin is like a staple fighter on HBO. Dominique Wade and all these fights are on regular HBO. He had 2 HBO pay-per-views with David Lemieux, the other one with Daniel Jacobs. So it's like, what's the real big issue? You know what I mean? Money? That's what it always boils down to. But in other news, I want to say that $15 million is sounding about fair, but I don't know. Maybe De La Hoya might try to switch it now. Like, oh, your numbers aren't good enough. So I just hope they can get it done. But $15 million definitely sounds fair. I don't know why it's a flat rate, but in terms of the actual monetary gain, I mean, it's hard to put a price on a fighter, but for that fight, for this fight, based on Golovkin's star power, it sounds like a legit offer. You know what I mean? Just people don't like hearing the term flat rate because it sounds like kind of fishy. Let me know what you guys think. Canelo says Golovkin's team, they're just using his name for publicity. I just want to see the fight. Let me know who wins. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.